Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derbies, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at SmashItDerby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at StirringDirtRacing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast. We have a rapid-fire show on deck for you tonight, episode number 275. I was taking a look at some of the materials that we've got, that we've loaded up, and if we keep on our pace through the course of this year, by the time we get to late summer, we'll have enough original content from Crash Course where you could watch something different from Crash Course every day for an entire calendar year, which is kind of cool to be creeping up on that. I don't think anybody on Finger Lakes 1 has done that before, so that's exciting. We appreciate all the folks tuning in and hanging out with us here tonight. Again, fast-paced show. Quick item of business. John King, who was on with us last week from King Smash and Crash from Demolition Derby, turned 63 years old today. Jamie Davis, who is run Seneca County Fair and gone out to Bash for Cash a number of different times. He had a birthday over the weekend. We're going to be talking with Frankie Guy from Hardcore Promotions. We're talking with him a little bit about what his upcoming season looks like. We're going to talk with Jamie St. Mary. At the bottom of the show, he may or may not have Eric Stoll with him as those guys get ready to head out to Bash for Cash here Memorial Day weekend. We're going to talk with Tim Clark as well with Smash It. He's out there putting the track together and getting everything ready over at the Ross County Fairgrounds for Bash for Cash. Again, that's coming up this weekend, and we're going to round it out by talking to our guest who's waiting in the wings right now, Barry Clemens, who came away with a win at the King of the Ring Demolition Derby with Chad Markley Promotions in New York, in Nebraska here over the weekend. So without any further delay with that, we'll get Barry on the line. Again, that Derby was in York, Nebraska. Barry on the line. Barry, man, congratulations on the Derby win. That was awesome at King of the Ring.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a good time.
Blast
out there.
It's no simple task. The way that the Derby breaks down, they start with 60, run it down until there's about 25 or so left. Take a break, get all the riffraff out of the way, and then you go back at it. And you've got to endure that entire cycle between starting with everybody out there, getting through that getting to know you stage of the Derby. Then you've got the break where you got the adrenaline dump. You got to come back around and finish the Derby off. How challenging is that Derby, and how tough is it to win?
Yeah, it's a tough Derby. A lot of good drivers out there from 9 states. You just had to get through that first round. And hopefully you didn't have a ton of work to do on your cars. You had an hour to work on your cars, fix them up. So, yeah, as long as you make it through that first round, you got a better chance. So,
how long did the first round last itself? The first round, I mean, where we basically whittle the field in half. How long were you on the track for that?
Yeah, I don't know what they had all talked about, but I thought somebody said something like 40 minutes or so. I don't know. It might have been 5 either way. I'm not positive on that, but yeah, it went on for quite a while. Yeah, everybody I think had a blast in there. And,
So it's not like your typical Derby in that you have a qualifying heat, then you have an extended period where other support classes and stuff run. You've got an hour break. You go out there and you run your car hard. What's that do in terms of the heat cycle with the motor? You know how metal likes to expand and things like that. If you lose your radiator early and that motor gets super hot, is an hour enough to get things cooled down to where it's going to be back to, I don't know, fair to say. Is that enough time?
Oh, yeah, I think an hour, unless, after the first round, if your car gets real tore up, I mean,
sure.
Hour maybe ain't enough time, but that's the way they said it. I think that's a good rule. We were lucky enough that our cars weren't that tore up. We had to do some stuff, adjust some stuff in the back, and a few other things on the trunk and that. But ours held up real good.
Where's this win fall in terms of your career and your resume? Is this?
I would say this. Yeah, this is the biggest show that I've won.
Right.
Yeah. So it was. Yeah, I was pretty excited about it. And had a good time. Yeah.
What were the last few minutes like?
The last few minutes, it was a lot of hard hitting. Turners. They had some tough cars.
Sure.
A little nervous that they had a lot. I was 2 wagons. Pretty good shape yet. Just happened to, luck out, I guess, or luck involved. They had, I think, training problems maybe, and so we were, lucky enough to win it, I guess.
Those guys run very well out there. I mean, we've seen them find some success.
They're very good car builders, very good drivers. Yeah, it was fun to be out there with them. Adam Klein did a heck of a job driving, getting second, with no steering.
Right.
Kept it going. My brother getting fifth. He did good too. He just had tie rod problems and steering issue. So it's there's definitely some luck involved. We all had, Brent and I, we had my motors I build, our trannies, our rear ends, and that we build, and so everything held up, performed good. So we were pretty excited.
I mean, it's certainly a well-earned win. I had the note from Chad said that Sean Wetzel got a Mad Dog Award. Was it Sean Wetzel or Kyle Wetzel that won Mad Dog?
Yeah, on the Mad Dog, I'm not positive.
Oh, sure. Okay.
I know. Yeah, I think Josh Turner got a Mad Dog too, right?
Yeah, he. How could he not, right?
Right. Yeah, they did. They put on a heck of a show, and they always do.
Was there any point where you looked at what was left out there and kind of surveyed the landscape and thought, hey, you know what, we got a chance at winning this thing, and moved into a win mindset from the position that you were in? Were you starting out with a win in mind?
We got down to top 10 cars, and knew we had a possible chance, but and then when it got down to 5, so I just knew I had to keep it going and not let them get good shots on you, and even though they had they built really tough cars. Very tough.
Were you able to keep the steering on yours?
Yeah, I could steer. Front end was coming up pretty good, but everybody else was too. So
right.
You just got to get that extra little edge on it. So
I remember talking with Brent a couple years ago when he first started kicking around the idea of going to King of the Ring. I think this is the third time that you guys have gone down there?
No, this is our first time running King of the Ring.
Oh, okay.
So we were looking forward to it. We've been looking forward to it all winter, and running down there in Nebraska. I've never actually ran Nebraska. Brent's been different Nebraska show.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
interesting. So what else have you got on the schedule for this year? What else are you going to do?
June's pretty full. Doing family stuff, but I'm going to probably get back in July and probably go down and watch Mayhem, Metal Mayhem. That's a good show. So I'd go help Brent out probably down there. He'll be running. I probably won't be.
Right.
So anyway,
Any thoughts?
Go ahead.
Beyond going down and helping with Metal Mayhem, are you going to get back in the car again this year? Is there any likelihood that we'll see you?
Yeah, I'll be in the car. Blizzard Bash, we'll be running that.
Right.
That's it. Later. But this summer. Yep.
Is there anything left of the car that you brought home from King of the Ring?
It's pretty much used up.
Yeah.
Thank God that we're, in a way, sometimes you're glad when they're junk.
Right.
You can start over instead of leaving them half used, sit around, so it's kind of nice to have it junk.
Now, the fairs in your home area have scaled things back, right? It's not quite as heavy as it used to be?
Right. Yeah, fair stuff is,
It's a little bit
we don't run too many fair stuff. We'd rather go to the bigger ones, we ain't afraid to travel. We know a lot of people, a lot of good people around, a lot of good drivers. Yeah, it's a lot of fun out of state.
Yeah, you come from a pretty derby-heavy part of the country where you see a lot of big talent, but then it seems like when you go out of town, you see the same guys from your home area, and you're bumping into the same guys that you would have had you just stayed and run around home for the summertime.
Right. Yeah, it's fun. There's a lot of, like I say, a lot of good drivers out there in the Midwest, all over. So.
I'm trying to remember. I think Rick Harrington is working on putting together a show in September. Have you heard anything about that?
Actually, I haven't. Yeah, if you keep that in mind. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Rick was out there and his boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I say, a lot of good drivers out there from all over.
Well, I mean, that's good to see too. Is King of the Ring when it changed hands there. Chad was really hoping not to have a whole lot of fall off and really help bring that event back to prominence. It never really fell out of prominence, but having a name like Chad's associated to it, certainly it does help raise that level of expectation, raise that level of competition, and some new drivers decided to come out and give it a try, and obviously the show was successful for those guys, and you were fortunate enough to come away with a win in this one.
Yeah, they put a good derby on, good Chad and inspection crew, they all did good. Todd and Scott and everybody else.
One of the things that we talked with Chad about when he was on the show a couple weeks ago was the difference between having all the cars equal when they get on track and having all the cars equal in terms of the microscope they're looked at through tech inspection. How did tech inspection go?
That went real good. I mean, it was fair. We had stuff we had to cut. Pretty much like everybody, a few things,
right.
Not too major, but I think it was a very fair derby inspection. They just told us what we had to do, and everybody did it. And I think that all went smooth. Nobody really arguing and trapping about anything. So it was. They know what they're doing, and they do a very good job at it.
Awesome. So is this
no complaints about the inspection or anything?
Is it likely that we're going to see you back there at this one again next year then?
I suppose I'll have to come back. And,
right.
That's hold awesome. Up the title. So maybe my brother can win it next year or something. I don't know. We'll see.
It all depends on if you decide to let him, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good driver. Yeah. So.
Well, usually I give. Go ahead. Go.
No, we had a good time.
That's awesome. I know you got.
I'm out there and coming back. Got back late yesterday, and we had, we got 9 hours on the road.
Oof.
So we had a good time.
That's great. I know you said you got your boys' baseball game to get to. Hopefully everything goes well with that. We wish him luck. We usually try and give everybody a chance to thank their motor builder and their transmission builder and everything like that, but you do all that stuff for both you and for Brent. Is there anybody that helped make the trip possible or anybody that you want to make mention of?
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of people to thank. I like to thank Brent for everything he does and helps me, and I help him back and forth, and his wife Lindsay, and their little boy Axel that came with us. He was quite a trip. He was in the vehicle with us and entertained us all the way there and back yesterday. I'd like to thank my wife, all the food she made, and Lindsay. My boys for helping me. My pit crew. We had a lot of good help. Cody Dolson, the Fleck boys, Ryan and Greg Kegger, Kyle Riedner, the Burkett boys, Jeff and Dusty.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that I forgot, I'd like to, thank. So, it takes a lot. Takes a lot to run a show like that and compete. You can't do it yourself, or you'll never make it there.
That is for sure.
So, and I'd like to thank Chad and his whole crew, inspection, and Todd and Scott and everybody else. I don't know everybody's name, but they did it. They did a very good job.
That's good to hear. Good endorsement from Barry Clemens coming away with the win at the King of the Ring. Barry, I know you got to get to that baseball game. I don't want to keep you too long. Drive safe, build safe when you're getting everything ready for Bash for Cash, and I look forward to seeing you in the fall, if not before.
good. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it, man. Talk to you soon.
You have a good one.
You too.
Yep.
Bye now.
Bye.
There goes Barry Clemens coming away with the win at the King of the Ring in York, Nebraska. Big thanks to Chad Markley for thinking of us, sent me that message. I had lost track of that one actually happening over the weekend, so that was cool to have him get us some information from the Derby. Good follow-up. By all means, anybody who's got Derby action going on, they're always welcome to shoot us a note, let us know how everything played out. Taking advantage of that right now is King Smash 'em Crash 'em. We're going to have Frankie Guy. This is Frankie Guy joining us here in just a minute. We're going to be coming to Frankie with hardcore demo promotions, but real quick before we do that, we said John King celebrating a birthday, but the work never stops. Sean Amon coming away with the win in the junk run over there with King Smash 'em Crash 'em Demolition Derbies, competing at Fulton Speedway. Fulton Speedway had them 24 cars in the 4 and 6 cylinder cast. That was outstanding turnout. And let's see here. Sean Amon over Eric Sullivan and Carlos Santiago. Sean Amon got Mad Dog in the junk run. And then a chain bang, Mike Taylor won over Alan Fink and Gabe Forward, Eliza Hicks, and Alex Nellenbach rounding out the top 5. Mike Schroeder from right here in Geneva coming away with the Mad Dog Award in the 4 and 6 cylinder chain and bang for John King and King Smash 'em Crash 'em Demolition Derbies over there at Fulton Speedway. Their next event is going to be on the 23rd at Afton. So joining us on the line right now as we shift gears to the promoter side of things, Frankie Guy joining us to talk about hardcore demo promotions. Frankie, man, how are you?
Doing great, guys. How you doing?
We're doing okay. We appreciate you coming on the show and hanging out with us for a little bit. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about what you got going on with hardcore this year?
Wow. Well, we are set on go. Blast here at Hard. We've been busting our butts behind the scenes to South Central PA, Southwestern PA, try to change the game, and I can assure you that we have worked our butts off to do that. And some instances, we've tripled the purse in most of the events. We have 13 events this year.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm coming out of the gate wide open for sure.
Sure.
So
Southwestern PA, that's
Pittsburgh area.
Yes,
we're south of Pittsburgh. With 13 shows, we will start off with the Farmington, PA. We got Fayette County, Greene County, Washington County, Fair, West Alexander. We also will be doing a great Stoneboro Fair, our 2-day, the Labor Day lockdown. Okay. That's Firster and Henshaw. You appreciate those guys. I mean,
sure.
Helped us to step in there to keep that going, and we're looking forward to that. A great show, big on our list.
I mean, you're in a pretty dense neck of the woods for Pennsylvania. You've got New Alex, Pennsylvania, which has the Lions Club Derbies regularly. They've got that program. Cruise Shore Demolition Derbies was down there for a long time. Derby Dogs has some influence down there with Jeremy Hayduke. And then the folks at Big Rock with Chris Firster. All that group is all tied in down there. So it's got to be a little bit tough trying to make a little bit of room at yourself for the table.
You know what? We've been accepted with open arms. Most of the fairs, like I said, we put, our big strong point is we put together a group of people that is just amazing. We got some running the bash this weekend. You got Jonathan Howman,
okay,
Charlie Post, Justin Hertzer, Stevie Sickles. Those are all part of our crew. Those guys will be running the bash coming this weekend. We're all looking forward to. But we really put together a real good inspection crew. It's straight up, very vigorous. You're going to follow the rules. You're going to what's wrote. And that's the way it's going to be, and that's been our strong point is our people and working behind the scenes to put it all together.
Now, you mentioned Steve Sickles. We've seen Steve Sickles win all over the place and all sorts of different stuff, compact mainly, but we've seen him do some junk run work before. You said he's part of the crew. Is he driving or is he working as an inspection?
No, these are our officials. Ray Zilla, who did the compacts at New York last year, is with us. Robbie Hott, Patrick Uphold, Jonathan Howman, which he's Mr. Compact himself. Also, John Cashin, who was with the Keystone Nationals for a while.
Sure.
Officiated up there. He's on the crew, so, I mean, our people. I keep going back to people. I can't tell you how strong we are and excited, chomping at the bit here to get going.
It's a huge thing to have the right people making it happen, because your wrong phone call, or a phone call that can go wrong, can turn off drivers, and that information spreads a whole lot better than a good phone call. And to get the reception from the fairs and to have the right people in there so that your rules are solid, your inspections go smooth, it can make the transition for you into some of these fairs so much smoother.
Sure. And in this area, I've probably been involved in some way or another over 40 years.
Right.
So, I mean, I've done some local promoting myself in some of the racetracks. I had done the Bob Croucher, which was a major player in our area. Mm-hmm. When he had passed, I did his Memorial Derby there.
Mm-hmm.
So some of those things, that I've been a part of, either driving for 20-some years, and I also did the Debt Derby in Pontiac, Michigan.
Sure.
I was part of that event.
Right.
So I've been around the block. I guess I'm the old guy of the crew. So
I don't know how that's possible. You can't be older than Chris Furster.
Oh my, I think I am. Yeah. I'm definitely older. Well, maybe not as smart, but I'm probably a little older.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I was looking
at a couple of our sponsors too this week. Lemont Customs and of course Casey and Smith Metalworks. They're going to be at the Bass. We're going to encourage guys to go over and check them out and take a look at what they got going on. Both the guys build great stuff and for your cars, and we want to make sure those guys have been more than gracious to us this year, and they'll be both vending at the Bass. So go over and say hi to them guys. Tell them Hardcore sent you.
We've got the Mayhem on the Mountain series that's happening. There's 3 dates that are tied to that.
Yes, sir.
That's the event that's at the Farmington. With the Farmington Volunteer Fire Department. Tell me a little bit more about that and what we can expect with that trio of events.
Well, that's our opening event. I can tell you that I hear tell through the grapevine that you've got some of the heaviest hitters in southwestern PA coming there. It's a fire department not too far from, if people, just to give a location, Nemacolin Woodlands is about 2 miles away from this place.
Okay.
There's some heavy hitters. Maybe you might even see a Bo Lockwood or a Wes Mounts and some of the guys from Washington, Wheeling, West Virginia area. I'm telling you what, these are big show drivers, maybe in a little town. Coming to a little town to put on one heck of a derby, and I guess part of our program is the professionalism and the expectations,
mm-hmm.
not only to us as promoters. But we're looking for those drivers to step up. I worked with Iron City Promotions, in Florida this year. Shout out to Steve and Todd and those guys. Nick King worked with him this year. Got to see a different caliber of driver. Inspection is different. I'll straight up tell you, dealing with that caliber of driver, and I challenged all our drivers this year to step their game up. You're going to come, it's a respect, it's a run hard, all that deal, as we're going to do for them. I mean, we put our heart and souls into this, and as a lot of guys do in the build, and so that whole expectation of everybody, not just us as promoters, but as the drivers, that's what we're looking to do, put that big show feel in your local fair.
Sure. So we're looking at 3 dates for the Mayhem on the Mountain: June the 22nd, July the 20th, and August the 25th. Is there any type of bonus incentive program for people to come and try and win all 3, or any championship point structure to that?
It's going to be called the final. We've got it, the final confrontation, which is going to be the end of September. I believe it's the 28th. We are going to run every class we have. Our 2 main classes, the hardcore full size, mm-hmm. and the adult compacts, will be running for a championship. The full size is going to be a $5,000 to win.
Wow.
In order to qualify, you must be 1, 2, 3, or what we've called ours is the Hellraiser.
Okay.
You must be 1, 2, or 3 or have the Hellraiser Award, and that puts you to a spot in the feature. But you must have a second run in any of the other classes to qualify, and that gets you a spot in that night in our championship.
Okay.
And also that night we've called a tribute to the past, which took off in our area. Again, going back to how old I really am, I'm actually going to compete. I haven't sat in a car in maybe probably 10 years. I've been inspecting the last 10 years or so, but I haven't sat in a car. So, us guys were sitting around, and some of the young guys who watched me drive and some of the other old, drivers, Danny Trent, those guys like that, that we're putting together this tribute to the past. And we're going to remember some of the guys who passed on, and we're going to give a little bio about all the drivers and where they come from and how they've been, where they've been doing, when they started, and then we're going to have a little derby. We're taking the 25 guys, and we're going to smash some cars in a hobby stock type class.
That's cool. Now, qualifying for that championship that was paying $5,000 to win, that is a one and done only of qualifiers throughout the year, or is there going to be a qualifying structure to get into the main event there?
There will be qualifying structures that night also.
Yeah.
Again, we're going to run every class we got.
Wow.
Plus then. And, of course, we are doing some pro class.
Okay.
So basically you're pretty much like Bash Rules, local,
Wow.
That's kind of, those cars that come from that area and some of those heavy built classes that are pro class. And I think Casey Smith has put out a challenge at Stoneboro that,
oh boy,
if you're not from Stoneboro, you're not going to win. So those guys up there, Firster and Casey Smith, they kind of put it out there that there ain't nobody that's not from Stoneboro that could win that pro class. So I kind of challenge them. And you got big pro car guys out there. You guys got it. Let's bring it.
That's a heck of a guy to be laying down the gauntlet too.
Yeah. Oh my. You go to usually sometimes it's a kind of silly way. And I've attended all of the Henshaw and Firsters Derby since they've been doing them there, and I tell you that pro class is wide open. When they say go, the return spring falls off, and it is on like Donkey Kong. Those guys it's the gong show from the word go, head on, backwards, sideways, motor screaming. If nothing else, it's a heck of a show to see, I can tell you.
Sure. Stoneboro's been a popular place to go watch derbies for a long time anyway. We've been there a couple different times, and it's always been a great place to watch at.
Absolutely. Yes, sir, for sure.
In terms of bookings and stuff at this point, you've got 13 dates. Are you still taking more, trying to add to it?
Not this year. We honestly turned down about 4 more besides what we had. We felt that, as a group, that our plate was full. We had scheduling, against trying not to schedule one class right behind another one and to keep things spread apart enough for the cars to be fixed or rebuilt again.
Right.
So, I don't know how many more, if any more, we'll take on. We want to continue to absolutely keep what we got and make it grow and grow and grow. And who knows, maybe we're 2, 3, 4 years away from a major show in southwestern Pennsylvania run by Hardcore Derby Promotion.
That'd be nice, right?
Yes, sir. That's, I always say, I'll definitely shoot high and kind of a high-strung kind of guy, go for it. Sometimes the guys have to put the bit in my mouth and pull back because I definitely I'll pull both barrels.
In terms of places like some of the other derbies that are in that neck of the woods that you were talking about, you're looking at Jefferson County Fair in Brookville,
yes.
Clarion County Fair. That was another popular one. Always entertaining.
Bo Lockwood with the Keystone Nationals. There's another great show. Great guy, great show. Looking forward to our Labor Day lockdown will follow that show.
Right.
And I think, Sciopa's and Iron City Promotions, and we've talked. I've seen a coming together, if you will, of some of the Southwest, these guys around here. We talk. We go have a beer together. It's not a competition. We're here to help each other. When I went to Florida, hardcore, I took a trophy and $500 for a Mad Dog down there.
Sure.
Those guys will do the same for us. I thank them for letting me be a part of that down there, and getting to meet more people and getting me out, which I help them, they help me. I meet other people, other drivers, stuff like that. It's good for all of us.
Well, that was where I was heading to that conversation is how are you guys working together to make sure that Derby stays healthy? With all the different promoters, all the different shows, they start laying on top of each other, getting within 6 to 10 days of each other. You start poaching your own driver pool, and drivers fall off and they get burnt out, and you start running out of momentum. But it sounds like you guys have had good conversations, and you've structured your schedule around what the build types are elsewhere in addition to your own, so that you're not getting guys having to build 3 mod cars in a row, and then they just throw their hands up and say, forget it, I'm all done with this stuff. I'm going to go enjoy a little bit of my summer.
Absolutely. And that's part of the whole deal. Unifying a whole group of rules would be, who knows? I can remember 20 years ago we tried.
Right.
So it's just, I don't know if it'll ever happen, but, again, they read ours, we read theirs. Other than, there's some things that will need change here and there, but as long as there's no major, changes, you don't have to change a frame or a hump plate or, maybe they could change a bolt size here or there and come to all the shows and run. So that's what we're after, and again, us following Bo out there. There's some more coming on that end that I'm not going to talk about right now, but, especially with the younger and the youth classes. Mm-hmm. So stay tuned on that. There's some more information that we're working with Bo on the youth classes.
Awesome.
And we'll announce that, I'm sure, a little bit later here to come. Sure. But, that's where we're at right now.
Facebook page is very active for hardcore promotions. Jump online. I just threw hardcore promotions into the search bar. It came right up. It's got a couple of pictures of mid-'90s Lincoln on there for the Mayhem on the Mountain. And then also, if you look for the hardcore page, it's blue script, hardcore promotions right on there. In terms of your 13 dates, one of the biggest things that one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen first year and second year promoters make after they take on too many shows, they end up splitting their crew and try to do 1 derby on 2 derbies, 3 derbies on the same day, and they split everybody up. It sounds like, with your experience, better than to get in that situation. That's going to offer those drivers a lot of consistency in terms of the rules interpretations. Have you got anything that overlaps?
No, we don't.
Awesome.
We've actually we put together a meeting in January or February. It snowed 2 or 3 inches. We had 100 people to come.
Awesome.
And again, it wasn't when we called a rules meeting. We didn't want to really call it. We weren't changing the rules. We wanted to let them know our interpretation. It was a clarification type meeting.
Sure.
These are the rules. Let us clarify that any of the major stuff you want. And we also did one up in the Stoneboro area.
Yep.
Being the new promoters in the area, we went up there. Another 75, 80 crowd. Ron McClung. We met some of the Canadian drivers up there. It was just awesome to see all the guys and to come around.
Well, that's great, man.
So when we had that clarification, and again, that's what we want. We want you to come in. We clarify it. We take all cars from all around. But what we told them, listen, these are our rules. If you build a car for another place, please comply. One of the things I seen, biggest cuts, was the repair area, repair plates, which now you must use a hardcore repair plate.
Okay.
And, cars built for other places that come and I'll cut when I get there. Well, if it's out of whack, it's not going to fly. You need to make sure you read those rules. We spent months and months and hours on them. Let's take the 20 minutes it takes to go through them and read them. And we are you can message us on Facebook, our phone numbers, our call. We will help you. We'll help you to do anything we can, to help the guys out. And we are for the drivers. And with the guys that we got, we're for the drivers. I believe we're doing it for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important to all of us. You know, they come from the sport that didn't want to see it die, and we seen it going to a place, and we said we got to do something. You know, and that's how our stuff. Last year we did 3 shows, just kind of as a giveaway, honestly, and it was very successful. It was one of them things when it was over, the drivers themselves got out, shook hands. You know, the second in place guys are hugging each other. You know, you don't go to a lot of the drivers. Great show, man, great guy, great things. And we said, wow, you know, for just trying, it worked out great. And that's when we decided, hey, if we're going to do this, let's do it.
Right. When Dave Diver and Firster and all those guys got together to put together, if I remember the name of the event right, it was Hillbilly Heaven, or in right there on the border. Last year it was the barbecue cook-off and the gun show, and they raffled off the side-by-sides, and it was the derby and everything. The big thing that those guys kept repeating was they were doing it for the drivers, and they were successful. So a lot of the promoter operations that have come out of southwestern Pennsylvania have been started by former drivers who want to make sure that the sport stays in a healthy place and continues to grow. And it sounds like you guys are doing real good things and projected to have a good summer, you know, trending in a good trajectory. June the 22nd was the date on deck for the season opener. June the 22nd. Yes, that's the Farmington Volunteer Fire Department in Farmington, Pennsylvania. That's the first of 13 dates for hardcore promotions. Again, if you jump on Facebook, you can find all the rules and information on there. Ways to contact Frankie and the rest of the team in terms of getting everything together. I like everything that you're building on, man. I'm glad that you reached out to us to let us know a little bit more of what was going on with the program. And I look forward to keeping in touch with you through the course of the summer as things go. I mean, 13 dates, it's a lot of derbies, it's a lot of cars to wreck, so we'll have plenty to talk about.
That's absolutely too, and good luck to Corey Roman and Casey Smith for our Vegas picks for Vegas.
Right.
Hope those guys make it in there, and I will be going to Vegas to do inspection out there too.
Okay.
So,
cool.
Yep, I'll be at the Vegas show, and also with our Power Wheels, Brooke Davis, Valerie Fleming, Megan Dootsman, and my wife Michelle Guy. Behind the scenes, those girls between photography, pictures, T-shirts. Let me talk about T-shirts. Oh my God!
Right.
T-shirts, hats. Those girls have all been wonderful with flyers and different things that we needed to be done. So hats off to again as a whole team. Those girls, you know, putting everything together and helping us guys, you know, get this done.
Well, I'm glad everything is going so well as you're starting. So this is officially your second year, right? This will be your second year.
Well, this is our first year as Hardcore Derby Promotions.
Got it.
Like I said, last year, there's the biggest little fair, and I'll say in the U.S., and it's called West Alexander.
Right.
Which turned into basically a 5-foot car, run with your brung and hope you brought enough kind of thing.
Never good.
And there's a company down there named McAdoo, and how me and Justin and all these guys got together was the McAdoo, Scotty McAdoo and his dad and them have run, you know, part of the West Alexander Fair for many, many years.
Right. And
one January afternoon, they put us in a room down at the McAdoo camp, and we all sat there and talked. And that's when I first met Justin and Charlie and Jonathan Howman, you know, and those guys. And I tell you, when we put it together, you know, it just clicked. One fit the other one, and it was just worked out great. You know what the other one lacks, the other one has. Of course, they call me the mouth.
Right.
I will talk you to death. So I'm not scared to get up and go. And Hartzell, you know, is a little more harder. And Charlie laid back, and Jonathan, as far as the compacts, I mean, it all just works out really well. And two as a pack, we agreed to disagree, and when it's over, we're done.
Right on.
You know what I mean? So as a team, as us, and I mean, we're all going to the bash. We'll have our, you know, guys, come meet us, come talk to us, come see us. We'll have our Hardcore Derby tent out. I think we got 12 camping spots for the bash, so It'll be a heck of an encampment. Stop over, say hi, talk derby to us. I mean, we're looking forward to meeting more people, letting us know what we're doing, what we're about. And again, thank you guys for bringing me on and giving me the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, man, for sure. Keep in touch as we get further into the season as well. We'll be looking forward to hearing from you after we get through the first event on the schedule there on, I keep blanking on it, June the 22nd for that first round of Mayhem on the Mountain.
Sure will, buddy. Anytime, guys. Thanks again.
For sure, man. We'll talk to you soon, Frankie.
Take care.
You bet. See you now. There goes Frankie Guy with Hardcore Derby Promotions. He's going to be out at Bash for Cash. You can stop over and say hi to him and find out a little bit more about their 13 Derby schedule. So it's going to be a busy year for them. It's the first time that they have operated as a Derby promotion company under that name. Had a couple Derbies last year. They're in a busy, busy part of Western Pennsylvania. So wish those guys the best of luck as they get ready for their first event coming up on the 22nd of June, a little over a month away. But before we get to that, we got to get through the Bash for Cash. And Tim Clark, I think he just answered. Is that Tim? Yeah. Hey, there's Tim. Hey. Oh, there's Tim. Tim Clark jumping into the hot seat now. Tim, how are you?
All right, doing great.
Saw some pictures of the track that Tim Clark with Smash It Demolition Derby had posted of the track surface over there for the Bash for Cash at the Ross County Fairgrounds. How's everything coming?
Actually, it's going really good. I'm actually ahead of schedule, I think, so far this year.
What
so
are you
I'm
doing? Why would you say that? You just jinxed yourself.
I know that, but I made Russ do a little more work this year to take care of some things so I can do other things. So,
how's the minority shareholder in Smash It doing? I haven't heard anything from Fatty in months.
Fatty's actually building a derby car right now too.
Yeah.
So he has a team event coming up that he's running in, up by Erie County and so Norwalk. So
gotcha.
He's busy at that, I guess.
So at this point, you're probably watching the weather radar. You're watching all the travel forecasts and everything to make sure that you're gonna have good weather for the weekend. What's the to-do list for the next couple of days once we start seeing cars and campers pulling in Wednesday and Thursday?
Well, I got to do a couple more things at the fairgrounds, do a couple more things to the track, and set up the inspection barn. But besides that, there's not much left to do. Just get everything else done.
With the addition of the street stock class, that's the pro stock class that's paying some pretty good money, sort of the fourth main feature that's on the schedule for Bash for Cash weekend. How was the response to that this year? And what are we looking at in terms of the car counts?
That class there, the pro stock class, it was actually unbelievable. I think it filled up within like 4 minutes. We took like 40 entries for that. So that class is going to be awesome. There's a lot of great drivers in that. So I think that'll be one of the classes to watch this year.
What do we look?
Car count, we're over 500. We're in the like 570s.
Yeah. You guys have been flirting with that 600 number for the last 3 years, and it doesn't seem like it's slowing down at all.
No, it's a little lower than what it was last year, but I think it's still up there. I can really say I think it's probably the largest outdoor show in America, I guess. Easily the largest outdoor show in the United States, with almost 600 cars going through each of the last 3 years. Last year, I think. So, it in the 570s, you're looking like you're down 15 cars. When you're talking about you're eclipsing the 500 mark, 15 cars, are you missing anything? I don't really think so. The pro stock class itself, that was sort of put out there as a way for the guys who didn't want to build heavy, who didn't have access to the old iron, stuff like that, to still come and be part of a premier headline class at a major show like Bash for Cash. Did drivers pull out of other classes and just build for that? Are you seeing drivers that are dual listed, that are running both, trying to pull double duty? What's that lineup look like? No, I think some of the drivers actually pulled out of another class to go into that pro stock class.
Right.
But in the pro stock class, there's actually a lot of new drivers that's running for Bash for Cash. So
awesome.
That's a good thing. So
that's great news.
It's up in the air on both of it. So
How about the banter that's coming your way about the Imperials running in the old iron class? Anybody bringing any of the birds?
I think I know of one for sure is going to be there.
Yeah.
So I guess the big birds in Pennsylvania, it's sad that I guess they're not running this year. They got other plans to do, but
right.
I mean, because they can build some hell of a cars, that's for sure.
Right. The cars that they ran last year, they just got them sitting in mothballs. They'll bring them back next year. I'm sure it won't be an issue.
You're right. That's for sure. But I mean, I think it's going to be a great show. I mean, it'll probably be the show to watch for the year. I mean, it's because I always try to keep it at a high, fast pace for everybody. You have to keep everybody happy, that's for sure.
Well, the show of the night is typically that the Frank the Tank old school 70s wire class. That always seems to be the headline event. But now it seems like they've got a little bit of a challenge from the golden generation, 1959 and older relic class. How's the response been for that one?
That response has been crazy also. I mean, it actually filled up really quick also. I don't want to say a time, but it wasn't very long before that class was full. We took like 30 cars for that class. So I would say that class might be a show to see also. So I can't wait to see that class myself. I know some like 59 Imperials coming.
Yes.
I think like 3 or 4 of those, and that kind of scares me a little bit. But I mean, besides that, I mean, I think it's going to be some old classic cars that's going to get tore up. That's for sure. I love the sounds of it. That relic class, when I first got wind of that, it sounded fantastic when we saw it up here, and it's only grown since with you guys adding it to Bash for Cash. Spinning Wheels had it up here at was that San Filippo? I think it was San Filippo. Yeah, I do believe it was Sam Filippo up there. Me and Russ actually came up to that show and watched it and fell in love with the class and said, man, I don't know if it'll work in Ohio, but let's try it. And it sure did work, that's for sure.
Right. They're familiar enough with the 58, 59 Fords, Thunderbirds, the Edsels and stuff like that, so it probably wasn't too awful hard for them to adapt that build style. It's just a little bit more stock than they're used to.
Right, that's for sure. It's a lot stocker build, but I think it's just so cool, some of the cars that you've seen out there that on Facebook and stuff that people's making and running and painting, and I mean, it's unbelievable. That's for sure. Frank the Tank class is giving away a 2-door Impala this year? Yep, a 2-door. It's a 76, and I think there's a 73 doghouse on it. Of course, I bought it from a demolition derby driver, so of course they took the 76 front end off of it and put an older front end on it. But, it's a really nice car, so, yep, somebody will be taking a new Impala home with them. What's the raffle car this year that's going into the kicker class? It's a kicker car. It's a 03 Crown Vic, so. And if you win that, not only do you get to run it that night, but you keep everything in it, right? You keep everything. You take the whole car home after you run it. So motor, transmission, and it's no slouch. Everything. That's awesome. Yeah, you even get a free helmet. Perfect. You want better? Oh, that's perfect, ain't it? Doesn't get much better than that. All the action for Bash for Cash is going to be streamed live on DerbyNation.tv. I'm going to be in the booth with Steve Bucknam, working with the DerbyTees.tv production company, streaming everything through DerbyNation.tv. We're going to be trackside for all of that, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A lot of the one-and-dones that we talked about, the 80s wire class, the 70s wire class, the relic class, that's all going to be part of the program on Sunday, correct? Sunday afternoon? Actually, the relic class is running on Saturday. Oh, it is? Okay. You got some wrong information on there, but the relic is actually running on Saturday unless Russ changed it on you. Okay. All right. I just pulled what I pulled off of. I pulled what I pulled off of the post, so we'll go with that. So we'll make that change for Saturday. But either way, a couple definitely premier events that are going to be part of that before we get into the big money features. Is there anything that we didn't hit on or that we got to make sure that we get to before we get together on Friday and start wrecking cars at Bash for Cash? I just want to say, if anybody's listening out there that's never been to the Bash for Cash, it's probably about the best outside demolition derby you'll ever see. So sometime you need to get out there to see it, that's for sure. Well, it's Demolition Derby's premier outdoor event, and it's also Demolition Derby's biggest party. There's tons of stuff going on in the pit area throughout the course of the day. A lot of the derby action Friday and Saturday going to happen later in the day, so you got the morning to check out all the vendors area. Beautiful covered grandstand, so you're out of the sun when you're taking in the derby action. There's not a bad seat in the house. A bunch of perimeter seating as well. There's also seating in the pit area, so there's bound to be some place for you to sit.
you can't go wrong. And the campus where it's held at the Ross County Fairgrounds is absolutely enormous. So if you can, bring at least a bicycle so you can navigate the grounds a little bit easier.
During the down, and then the weather's supposed to be like 86 all weekend, like 20% chance of rain, so it's not going to rain at all. So it's going to be a great weekend.
Awesome. Well, we sure are looking forward to it. Tim, again, I appreciate you taking some time out of the schedule. The track looks like it's coming along pretty well, and we'll see when we get ready to go on Friday.
All right. See you, Steve.
See you later.
I mean, Chris.
See you later.
All right. Bye.
He's got a great inspection crew that he's got to go get their barn all set up and ready to go. So he's working on that in addition to all the other stuff that's happening as part of Bash for Cash weekend. We'll give you a rundown a little bit of what you're going to see. Bash for Cash and the Ross County Fairgrounds in Chillicothe, Ohio. Friday is the compact heats, so we've got that waiting in the wings. After that, we're going to be back with a compact consi at 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. At 4 o'clock is the Power Wheels. 5 o'clock is the Turn Back the Clock class and the kicker heats. All the qualifying will be done for them on Saturday night. And then Sunday is Demolition Derby Sunday. It starts early and it keeps going all day long. 11 o'clock is the start for the consolation rounds for Turn Back the Clock and the kicker classes. Then the one and done start at 1 o'clock, and then the main features begin scheduled for 4:30. If you need additional details for ticketing or event information, SmashItDerby.com has that for you. And then just to let you know some of the sponsors and who's part of it, again, Bash for Cash 2019. The Near It Big Rock kicker class pays $11,000 to win. DerbyTees.com Turn Back the Clock class pays $12,000 to win. We got Jamie St. Mary's coming to us in just a second. We'll get with Jamie. Jamie's waiting in the wings here. And the DerbyTees.com Turn Back the Clock class, $12,000 to win. DEC Headers Compacts, $10,000 to win. 80s and newer Pro Stocks that we talked about, that's $7,000 to win. And then also $2,000 to win each of these standalone classes. The Relic class, the 1959 and older division. Frank the Tank Old School Wire class. The 80s Wire class, the full-size trucks, youth compacts, compact trucks, and the street stocks on deck for that. We've got Jamie St. Mary joining us on the line. Jamie, how are you? I thought we had Jamie. Jamie? Are you there, Jamie? Jamie? We heard him, but he didn't... I know it was him. Try it again. So we'll get Jamie on the line here. And I think we got Jamie St. Mary's back. Jamie, how are you?
Very well, and you?
We're doing okay. So Jamie's getting ready to go out with, you're going out there with Eric Stoll to run Bash for Cash this year. How's everything going?
Not too bad, Joe.
We're doing all right. How's the cattle business?
Yeah, we're having a tough time here. Jamie and Eric here.
Okay, Jamie and Eric, perfect. We got Eric as well. Great. Eric, man, how are you?
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yep,
I can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. Eric, I know you're getting ready to go out there, and this is your first trip to Bash for Cash, right?
With the car it is. We've been going to watch the last few years.
But you haven't run before?
Nope.
And what class are you going to be running?
Kicker class.
You excited about that?
Yep, very.
How different is running the kicker class at Bash for Cash compared to running someplace like the Franklin County Fair in Malone?
Night and day.
What are you guys building?
I'm building the Vic, and what are you building, Jamie?
Old school Buick, 74 Buick Electra.
Yeah, I think that's all you own is 74 Buick Electras.
I got a couple.
Yeah, I've seen you do well in those. So, I mean, you guys are making the trip out. Jamie, you've run in the compact class before, but I don't remember you going in the V8s in the past out there at Bash for Cash either.
I have not. This is my first year running there. Like Derek said, we've been there quite a few years and watched. Kind of one thing on our bucket list, so I'm blaming this all on Eric. He conned me into this.
I'm excited to see it. I mean, this build style is right up your alley. I mean, to go out there and build a kicker car with this kind of stuff. I mean, Jamie, this is right where you want to be. How much additional research did you have to put in to sort of get to a point where you felt comfortable putting this car together?
of it came from going and just kind of looking at the cars. Another guy that's well known that runs out there has kind of gave me some tips and some pointers, and I've kind of built off of both going to the show and listening to, I call him the icon of the sport, but a guy from PA kind of helped me out a little bit.
Sure. I think I can start putting together who that might be. Eric, I mean, for your first time, how much have you just been sitting back and listening and listening to all the different input? When you're putting together a Crown Vic, there's a lot of different people with a lot of different ideas on how to put one of those together. Did you just pick one person, or did you take all the information together and start putting together what you think is the best combination of elements to build a competitive car?
I kind of went with, I tried to do the homework the best I could, and I took the ideas from everybody else and just kind of went with it, I guess. I just didn't go from one idea. I kind of stole from each sector, you want to say, from my research and whatever I did, and went with it.
You sort of conned Jamie into doing it. How much convincing did it take?
It was quite a bit. I didn't have to twist both his arms, just one.
Yeah. I think that once you guys go out there and do this, you're going to be hooked. This isn't going to be a one-time thing.
Nope, but definitely not. From what you have invested, you'd have to do it a few times to get the use out of it.
Right. The driving pace is going to be part of the gamble as well. You don't really know what you're going to get in terms of your heats, and you got to keep your head on the swivel, because if you take one bad shot, the heavy car that you've built is just as strong as everybody else's. It can start swaying rails and get things to bend funky because they are so hard. The weird stuff starts bending behind it. Have you studied at all? Have you been watching any of it to sort of get a better feel for what the driving style is? And have you thought at all about what your strategy would be in terms of getting into one of those qualifying spots so you can get into the feature?
My personal strategy is to try to drive the pace of the heat and see how it goes from there.
Sure. That seems to be a regular thing out there. The nice part is when they start pulling those mad dogs, if you can drive hard enough early on and book your ticket early. But the challenge is, man, if you start tearing your car up or you start getting bad luck happening and bad bends, you're not going to have anything left to fix for when the feature time comes around. So you got to kind of balance that out. We've seen some of those heats go out there and they just turn it up and it gets wild, and some of them slow right down. You got to be more strategic and pick your shots. And that's when that surgical stuff comes in. You got to know the weak points of everything that you're looking at.
Agree.
Jamie, you've been in that spot before where you've got to run the pace of the heat and kind of pick people apart versus just going out there and throwing haymakers like it is at home. Do you like that kind of cerebral driving style?
Now I don't say I'm old, but now that I've grown to be a little older, yeah, that driving pace of picking the shots and driving with the rest of the field versus just going out and being the guy that throws the haymaker. Yeah, that's the kind of style I like nowadays. Prior, it would be just at the drop of the green flag, lay it down and be done with it.
Right, just go wide open. Working with somebody like Eric who's ready to go, he's talked to you and stuff, does that help bring you back to some of the beginning days of when you were getting into Demolition Derby?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you looking forward to most, I guess, in terms of going out there? The likelihood of getting into the same heat is probably pretty thin, but just to be able to go out there and experience Bash for Cash together as a team.
For me, getting in the same heat would be great. If we don't, so be it. If we do, or if we don't, my goal is I will be extremely happy if I make the feature. If I don't, so be it. Mm-hmm. I'm at the point where this is the first time for me, so I'm just going more or less to learn, number one, have fun, and if I can make the feature, it's a bonus. If something happens, I can make the top 10 in the feature, that's a big bonus.
Right.
I'm going to say there's no chance of me ever winning it, but I'm going to go have fun and enjoy myself along with all the guys that are going with us. There's a big group with us. So that's more or less what it is, a weekend to get away, have fun, smash some cars, eat a lot of cheeseburgers, and drink some beer.
Is most of the power team going to make the trip?
Some of them, yeah. Yeah, we've got quite a few people coming down kind of follow along with us.
Right. Is there any other cars out of that area? I know Travis Charleston's made the trip down a number of times.
Yeah, no, it's actually just Eric and I for the V8, I think, but I'm not 100% sure. There might be some guys coming out of Plattsburgh that might be running the compact street class, maybe, if there is one.
Sure.
But as far as head-built cars, it's just Eric and I. Actually, I got a compact that's already built from last year. Myself and Travis were going to run this year, but some things came up for Travis, so it's not going to make a go this year.
Gotcha.
I was going to run 2 cars, one with Eric and one with Travis, but Travis ain't going to make it, so
right.
We're going to save it for another year.
Is everything good with Travis? He going to be back again next year?
Yeah. He sounds like he may start a new career, and he's enjoying his young daughter and post-home derby season for his kids, so that's good for him.
Yeah, can't really fault that, right?
Nope, for sure.
Awesome. Is there anybody that's helping you guys make the trip out?
We got our own trucks and trailers and enclosed trailers and tools, and all the guys are kind of around helping us, and that's probably the extent of it. I mean, no certain people. It's
such a hard tow. I'm thrilled to see so many New York guys making the trip out to Bash for Cash to go and be part of it. And when you get down to running one car through the course of the weekend, you've got qualifying, you maybe got to have a consi and maybe have a feature. So you've only got to worry about running maybe 2-3 times. But at the same time, you're going so far that if something weird happens, you want to make sure that you have every opportunity at your disposal to get the car out there again for that second run. So you've got to basically pack the entire garage up and make it a mobile entity so that you can take it out there so that you're prepared for any of those wild cards that you don't plan for. And that's got to be one of the toughest parts about going out to Bash for Cash is bringing all the stuff with you to make sure you're ready for the repairs.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I said to Eric earlier on the phone today that I got an enclosed trailer and I'm pretty much packing my whole shop.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking extra transmissions, extra rear ends, all that stuff?
Yes. Yeah, we'll have probably one of everything when we go.
You've got a new program together with Roy Turner rear ends for this year.
Yes. I purchased a Roy Turner probably 2 months ago. Yep.
Yeah.
Just a braced up 14 bolt. That's it.
Nice. I mean, it'll do the job. That's all you need, you know.
I hope so.
We've seen his stuff hold up to some abuse before. And Eric's got a Baldwin ready to go for this year, right?
What's that?
Eric's got a Baldwin in the car for this year?
Yep. I've had this Baldwin for 2 years now. I think this will be its second year I've owned it.
Right. It's probably never worked as hard as it's going to this weekend, has it?
Probably not. To the paces, I hope.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for you guys. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you out there, and with the success that we've seen, Jamie have mainly. I know we've seen Eric run before up in Malone, but between the hometown fair in Franklin County and coming down here to run some of the metal destruction stuff that we've seen Jamie run, I knew you guys are bringing the talent behind the wheel, and you're strong enough builders to go out there and compete. You just got to have luck fall your way.
That's for sure.
I agree.
Better to be lucky than good?
Yep. Amen.
Yep.
I'll take luck over being good any day.
Awesome. How's the ball game going, Eric?
Not too bad. I got my assistant coach taking over right now, so he's doing a fine job.
Awesome. Well, I know you got that game going on. I appreciate you guys making some time. I anticipate once you get done with the ball game, you got to go finish cars again this week.
Yeah, I'll be back at the shop there as soon as I've done this till probably 11 o'clock every night. Been putting in some late hours, burning the midnight oil.
I understand that.
Hopefully we'll be all wrapped up.
There's always something else to weld, right?
Yep.
Very good. Well, guys, I wish you the best of luck. Travel safe getting out there. And like I said, we look forward to catching up with you out there if we get some downtime. And hopefully inspection goes smooth, and we'll see you during the heats.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Chris.
You bet. Anybody else you want to make mention of before we let you go?
Jason Brodzinski Ski supplied us with a lot of good parts. Roy Turner rear ends. Ryan at Catskill. You guys have been outstanding getting us parts. So
very awesome. Good on such short notice, also.
Right. You've got Smythe Welding as well that's been supplying you some parts, and you got a diver motor in your car for this one, right?
I actually, my diver's in my other car, so I had to pull out my old rusty trusty one.
Well, that's certainly won you enough money where we'll see what it can do this time.
Yeah, I got a lot of confidence in it.
You'll be just fine. Jamie St. Mary, Eric Stoll, I appreciate you guys making some time at the ball game. We'll talk to you soon, guys. Good luck.
Thanks. Take care, Chris.
See you later. That was Jamie St. Mary, Eric Stoll making their first ventures into the deep waters of the V8 class, running the kicker cars out there at Bash for Cash. Again, Bash for Cash. Special Demolition Derby puts that one on at the Ross County Fairgrounds in Chillicothe, Ohio, and we'll be with you live on DerbyNation.tv, DerbyTees.tv, doing the production on that one. I'll be in the booth working with Steve Bucknam. And from here, the next stop is Bash for Cash. We'll be catching up with you, probably doing some live pit stuff Thursday afternoon, Friday morning. And then we'll get into some of the qualifying events on Friday night for the compacts. That's going to do it for this edition of the Crash Course. We're going to be back with you again at some point probably next week. We'll be talking a little bit about some of the stuff that's going on in the opening weeks of June. We've got one coming up, the Spring of Destruction, June 1st. 1 o'clock start time at the Nicollet County Fairgrounds in St. Peter, Minnesota. Gates open at 8 for inspection. Grandstands open at 11. 1 o'clock showtime. Limited Weld, 2,000 to win. Limited Weld Trucks, 2,000 to win. 80s class, 2,000 to win. Compacts, 106 inches and under, 2,000 to win. Hard hitter gets $400 plus a trophy. Kids Power Wheels Derby is going to start at noon. You can get a hold of Brandon Thomas with more information or questions, 507-317-9066. Also, we are going to be having, it won't let me navigate away from that, so we'll just have to go with that. 100 cars from 3 different states. Mad Dog is $600 for each class. If anybody has any questions, again, get a hold of Brandon Thomas. And then, of course, on the 1st of June is going to be Road Rage Entertainment's Teen Derby over there at Whitney Point. That's the Broome County Fairgrounds, so we've got that coming up on the other side of Bash for Cash as well. So lots of stuff happening here in New York. Minnesota Derby season is upon us. We finally got some good weather, and we got good weather ahead for Bash for Cash. We will look forward to seeing all of you folks out there once we get out to the Ross County Fairgrounds in Ohio here this weekend. We hope everybody travels safe. Wish you the best of luck. All the builds go safe, and of course all the Derby stays safe. We'll see everybody out there. Thanks a lot.
Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.